Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to another night of Strixhaven School of Mages unboxing of the 36-pack 15-card draft booster box. The fancy schmancy booster box. We've gone through, I don't know, about half. We've got a lot of things to do. I apologize if my voice sounds like crap during the stream. I've been trying to fix the audio on this. I moved the microphone further away. I turned down the gain. When I checked the recording, it sounded fine. We'll see what it sounds like. I know I said I was going to do this probably on Sunday, but I got some time tonight. I think we can get this done in the next hour and a half. So let's jump right into it. We have got some packs to open. This is, let's see, there's 4, 8, 16 packs to open. Let's get these suckers done. Pack number 1 of the night. Tear right into this thing. You know, I've seen some of those videos and stuff where the people are like, oh, I'm going to open this box of Pokemon cards or whatever, and they cut right through the cards. Oh, that makes me sick to my stomach. All right. We are getting a spirit token in to start, so let's lay out our fun stuff. Still looking for an Elder Dragon. That is, what I really would love to see. Alright, so first up we have Infuse with Vitality. I'm not sure if I've seen this before. This is an instant card for a black and a green. And it says, until end of turn, target creature gains Death Touch. And when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. You gain 2 life. Cool. I like that. That means, you put this instant on a creature with Death Touch, and then it comes right back when it dies. That's awesome. And it gives you some life gain. We love life gain with Witherbloom. All right, next up, Eureka Moment, an instant for 2, a green and a blue. And it says, draw 2 cards. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. 4 mana for a land. It's not great, but it doesn't say put a basic land. So you can put a non-basic land onto the battlefield in this case, which is nicer. It's nicer. Next up, we've got Lorehold Campus. We've seen these cards a bunch of times now. Expel, we saw last time. This is an instant for 2 and a white that says exile target tapped creature. Our buddy Burrog Befuddler, not going to go into him for a 3rd time. I just like saying his name. Then we have Fuming Effigy. This is a 4/3 spirit for 3 and a red, and it says whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, Fuming Effigy deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then we have Tangle Trap for, I believe, the 2nd time, 1 and a green instant, and it says choose 1. Tangle Trap deals 5 damage to target creature with flying, or destroy target artifact. I like the artifact removal. 5 damage to a flyer. If you don't have flyers in your deck, if you don't have reach, this is a good way to kind of get around that in some cases. Witherbloom has some flyers in it, though. They're coming in on the black side of the cards. The swamp cards, if you will. Next up is Leech Fanatic. This is 1 and a black for a 2/2 human warlock, and it says, as long as it's your turn, Leech Fanatic has lifelink. Then for like the 4th or 5th time, we have the Combat Professor. I still like the card. Then we have, for our last common, a Sorcery Lesson card. It's X and then 2 hybrid blue-greens. It is Fractal Summoning. I think we've seen this card, but I'm not sure, so I'll read it again. And it says, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it. So if you are building a counter deck, that's going to be helpful. Now, I talk a lot about Witherbloom with this because that is the Commander Precon that I have bought, at least for now, for this set. It might be the only Commander Precon I do end up getting. I kind of want to get away from some Precons. I've done it a few times now. But Command Zone just yesterday had a Command Zone podcast come out with DJ and Lady Danger, where she talks about her budget upgrade for the Witherbloom Precon that she's going to be using on the next episode of Extra Turns. And I was a little surprised at the commander she chose. She chose the box commander, the one that is on the art, which is, I can't remember the name, but it's the Witch. It's life gain plus counter. That's kind of the theme behind the deck. There's a lot you can do with just the life gain, life loss. And there is another possible commander in there that can do that just as well, but there's a little more fun to be had, I think, with the way that Lady Danger is going to be doing it. All right, so now our uncommons and rares. Still looking for something I might not ever get. All right, Reconstruct History. This is a good card. This is a sorcery card. I think I said this before. I'm pretty sure this is a good card. I could be wrong. It's 2, a red and a white, and it says return up to 1 target artifact card, up to 1 target enchantment card, up to 1 target instant card, up to 1 target sorcery card, and up to 1 target planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand, and then exile Reconstruct History. So basically, one of every type of card except for a creature card for 4 mana. That's good value for graveyard recursion. I really like this card, so I was right. And I've seen it before. I think it might have been in a different deck or something that I got. I don't know. Then we have Containment Breach, which I believe we've seen again. This is a sorcery lesson for 2 and a green. And it says destroy target artifact or enchantment. If its mana value is 2 or less, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. I'm getting more and more respect for these pests, especially because green just wants to just keep bringing them out. And they die. They're tokens. They die. You gain a life. With Witherbloom Commanders, you gain a life. Good things are going to happen to you. Plus, artifact or enchantment removal. I'm good with that. Next up, we have Mortality Spear. This is an instant for 2, a black and a green, and it says this spell costs 2 less to cast if you gained life this turn. So it could just be blue and a green or black and a green, and it says destroy target non-land permanent. So this is a single target removal spell for everything basically but a land. And if you've gained 2 life, which is real easy to do in Witherbloom, is only going to cost you 2 mana. It's real nice. Then we've got Shock again. So uncommon, we've seen it 3 or 4 times in this set. And then our rare card is the Efreet Flame Painter. This is a beautiful card. I want you to be able to see this art up close and personal. So, there we go. Focus in on that. So this is an Efreet Shaman. It is a 1/4 for 3 and a red, and it has double strike. It also says, whenever Efreet Flame Painter deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So, it deals combat damage. Cool. I get to cast an instant or sorcery card from my graveyard without paying its mana cost. Free spell. And then exile it, basically. Unless it's somehow a spell that can stay? I think there's some trickiness there. They can have to be like, cast a spell, then return it to your hand. Something. That would be awesome, because then when you bring it back out, it doesn't get exiled again. So a Freak Flame Painter, awesome card. You know, I wish it had more power, but there's plenty of ways to pump your creatures up to more power. All right, let's go on to the next deck. Pack. That's right. I apologize when I keep calling it a deck. Let's go. We want something good. We want some Elder Dragons. Ooh, that's a good one, though. It's just a double. I might have gotten that before, but I don't know. It's still a cool card. Even if it's a 1/1. You ever get a song stuck in your head that you haven't heard in years? Kind of love it. All right. So the Needle Thorn Drake. This is a 1/1 Drake creature for a green and a blue. It's only a 1/1, but it's got flying and death touch. That's a nice combo. Then we've got the Lorehold Pledge Mage, which we've seen before. Square Up, which we've seen before. Prismari Campus, which we've seen quite a few times. Dragon's Approach, which I think we've seen before, but maybe only once. This is a sorcery for 2 and a red that says Dragon's Approach deals 3 damage to each opponent. You may exile Dragon's Approach and 4 cards named Dragon's Approach. Oh, it's this card. From your graveyard. If you do, search your library for a dragon creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. And a deck can have any number of cards named Dragon's Approach. We want a lot of these cards. If this is something we want to use, if we're building a red dragon deck, then Dragon's Approach is something we want to have at least. What do you need to have? You need to have at least 5 in there. Now, at least 5 cards out of your 100. Probably more if you really want to make it effective. And it gets you 1 card. Now, it gets you a dragon creature card. Now, if you've got a big, nasty dragon, that can be worth it. Because it brings it onto the battlefield. It doesn't bring it onto it tapped. Yeah, I mean, it would depend on my deck. It would definitely depend on my deck. Mage Duel, we've seen before, but this is a sorcery that says, for 2 and a green, this spell costs 2 less to cast if you cast another instant or sorcery spell this turn. And target creature you control gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Then it fights target creature you don't control. I'm not a big fan of that. Gotta be honest. It gives me crushing disappointment. This is an instant for 3 and a black that says each player loses 2 life. You draw 2 cards. That's fine in Commander, because then everyone's getting hit for it, including yourself. Green, black, life gain, life loss. It's going to help you no matter what. Then we have Ageless Guardian. This is a Spirit Soldier. It's a 1/4 for 1 and a white. That's it. 2 mana, 1/4. It's okay. It's not great. It'll stick around for a little while early game, but it's not going to do much of anything. Then we have Resculpt. This is an instant for 1 and a blue, and it says exile target artifact or creature. Its controller creates a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. And then we have Environmental Sciences. We've seen this a few times. Not going to go over that again. Now to the uncommons and rares in this pack. I might have Killian, I don't know, but I will take him again. 2 rares. Alright, we've got Go Blank. This is a sorcery for 2 and a black that says target player discards 2 cards. Then exile all cards from that player's graveyard. That's just mean. I think I've said it before, but that's just mean. For 3 mana, he's going to discard 2 cards from his hand and then lose his graveyard. Oh, that player would be upset. That is a spicy card. Alright. Next up, legendary creature, Killian, Ink Duelist. He is a black-white. He is a silver quill. He is on a number of the packs for Strixhaven. Heck, he'll be on the next pack we open. How's that for a sign? He is a 2/2 human warlock for a white and a black. He has lifelink. He has menace. He has spells you cast that target a creature costs 2 less to cast. He is a good commander. I like that commander. And I say commander, that is a good legendary creature. He'll make a great commander. Then we have an instant for 1 and a black. This is Plum the Forbidden. This says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice 1 or more creatures. When you do, copy this spell for each creature sacrificed this way. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. So you get card draw. You lose 1 life. In Witherbloom, that's actually a good thing. Granted, you have to sacrifice 1 or more creatures. If you've got some low-level tokens, you can do that. That's fine. But you get, for every creature you sacrifice, you get to copy this spell, which means you're copying the draw a card, lose a life. So you end up sacrificing 2 creatures. You're going to draw 3 cards. You're going to lose 3 life. Losing 3 life sounds a little on the scary side. But if you're doing Witherbloom, green-black, you're going to be getting that life right back. Then we have 2 rare cards. First, with really cool art, is Compulsive Research. This is for 2 and a blue, a sorcery card. It says, target player draws 3 cards. Then that player discards 2 cards unless they discard a land card. Ew. No. I'd rather lose 3 life using Plum the Forbidden at instant speed than lose 2 cards or a land card for basically the same thing at sorcery speed. That's not great. Then last rare here, Devastating Mastery. This is for 2 and 4 whites, a 6 mana card. Sorcery. This says you may pay 2 and 2 whites rather than pay the spell's mana cost. If the 2 and 2 whites cost was paid, an opponent chooses up to 2 non-land permanents they control and returns them to their owner's hand. Destroy all non-land permanents. So this is a board wipe card. If you pay 4 mana instead of 6 mana, it says an opponent. So only one of your opponents. If you're doing this in Commander, one of your opponents gets to choose 2 of their non-land permanents and take them back into their hand. Then everything else is destroyed but their land. This is when I might want to just pay that 6. I don't want you to keep your stuff. But if I can choose that opponent, there's a little bit of politics in that. And, you just choose somebody either who doesn't have 2 non-land permanents or doesn't have great non-land permanents out. That's a good way to get rid of some nasty thing. Now, it is also, you're only getting rid of non-land permanents, so tokens don't go away. Ooh, because you're going to get rid of your non-land permanents as well. Got to think about that. Unless you have a way to get another way to get around that, you will lose your stuff as well. You will board wipe yourself. Alright, we're going to use this Killian deck to see if we can't get something good. The Killian pack. It's not a deck, it's just a pack. Starting off with a copy of a thing. Well, make that 2. Make that 3. I think we've seen this pack before. This is supposed to be the lucky pack. It's not. It's giving me a lot of copies of, or repeats of stuff. Well, maybe we'll have better luck with the uncommons and rares. Lorehold Pledge Mage we've seen. Square Up we've seen. Prismari Campus we've seen. Quandrix Pledge Mage we've seen. Guiding Voice. I don't know if we've seen this. This is a sorcery for 1 white. That's it. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and learn. Learn, again, if you're not familiar with this, lets you grab a sorcery lesson card from outside of the game and put it into your hand. This does not matter in a game like Commander, where you have no sideboard. But in games that allow a sideboard, it's a good way to go past your normal hand size and to actually choose what you're pulling. Waterfall Aerialist we have seen, but I think we've only seen it once. This is a Djinn Wizard. It is a 3/1 for 3 and a blue, and it has Flying and Ward for 2 mana. So an opponent must pay 2 mana, or a spell or ability that is cast on this card is countered. That's a really rough way of saying that. Let me read it as the card reads it. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player pays 2 mana. That makes more sense. Tome Shredder, our good/bad doggy, we've seen. Bayugroff, our plant doggy, we've seen. Professor's Warning. This is an instant for a single black, and it says choose 1. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, or target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. I like that. It's for 1. It's a 1 mana instant speed card. It's going to give you indestructible for a turn. So they go all out trying to kill your big guy, and you'd be like, oh yeah, I got this 1 mana left over. Boom. You can't kill it now. Then Spirit Summoning we've seen before, but I'll read it anyway. 1 and 2 hybrid red-white mana. This is a sorcery lesson card, and it says create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. It's almost like I didn't care about that card. Because I didn't, because it's a sorcery, and it's giving you just a 3/2 red and white spirit token. That doesn't do anything. It doesn't have flying. It doesn't have nothing. I do realize that I forgot to show whatever token or thing we're going to get from this one. And guess what? It's a 3/2 spirit token. Wow, that was kind of creepy. All right, our uncommons and rares for this one. Ooh, that's supposed to be a good card. 2 rares again. Oh, not giving me exactly what I wanted, but giving me some good things. First off, the Karok Wrangler. Might have seen this, don't know. This is an Elf Druid. It is a 3/3 for 4 and a green, and it has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. And that does not include tapping. There's a very angry dog outside of my window. Then we have the Shadewing Laureate. This is a 2/2 human warlock for a white, a black, and then your choice, a white or a black, hybrid, white-black. It has flying, and it says whenever another creature you control with flying dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So it's against pumping up creatures. It's a creature that's pumping creatures when another creature dies. Could be a token creature as well. Does not delineate that. Then we have the Ardent Dust Speaker. This is a Minotaur Shaman. It is a 3/4 for 4 and a red. I think we might have seen this before, but maybe just once, so I'll read it anyway. And it says, whenever Ardent Dust Speaker attacks, you may put an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. If you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. So it's a little bit of a gamble card, because the card you're bringing back from your graveyard is going on the bottom of your library. You need that shuffle to happen to get it. And the 2 cards you exile, if you can't end up playing them, you've just exiled 2 cards, and that's it. So we'll see. Alright, our rare cards. In some sweet art, we've got Ephemerate for a single white. This is an instant of 1 mana instance. And it says, exile target creature you control. Then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Rebound. If you cast this spell from your hand, exile it as it resolves. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast this card from exile without paying its mana cost. So while it is an instant, and you could cast it at any time, if you cast it during your turn, or at the beginning, If you cast this spell from your hand, when would you not cast? Well, I guess if you combined it with something like the Ardent Dustspeaker, you wouldn't be casting it from your hand. But that's interesting. At the beginning of your next upkeep. I don't know. I would have to think about that card and what that rebound would really do with your creatures on upkeeps. I don't know. Maybe if it's tapped. Well, it's your upkeep, so you're going to be going next. I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. Weird card. Alright, last card for this pack. This is the Torrent Sculptor. This is a Merfolk Wizard. It is a 2/2 for 2 and 2 blues. And it has Ward for 2 mana. It also says, when Torrent Sculptor enters the battlefield, exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on Torrent Sculptor equal to half that card's mana value rounded up. This is a double-sided card. I've been waiting for a double-sided card. Because on the back of this is a sorcery. And that sorcery is Flamethrower Sonata. This is a 1 and a red sorcery that reads, discard a card, then draw a card. When you discard an instant or sorcery card this way, Flamethrower Sonata deals damage equal to that card's mana value to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. So you're going to draw a card, you're going to get rid of a card. You know, maybe it's just a stupidly high value card or a card that you can easily get back from your graveyard. Except I believe it's just discard, so it's going into your graveyard. So let's say you discard an 8 mana card. Well, you just did 8 damage to a planeswalker or a creature that you don't control. I like that. This side Flamethrower Sonata, I think, is better than Torrent Sculptor. This is a counter card, as opposed to getting rid of. There's a little bit of single target removal, or could be single target removal. All right, so not giving me the cards I wanted, but not some bad cards. Not some bad cards at all. Okay, there were some bad cards, but you know, beggars, choosers, etc. All right, let's see what we got. It is just a kind of useless advertisement card. Itchy nose. So let's get our commons out there. At this point, with as many packs as we've opened, most of these are going to end up being repeats. That's just kind of how it is. Hey, another Dragon's Approach. I think we've hit at least 5 now. So it has now become kind of a usable card. We've got an uncommon in this first 10. So, Biomathematician. This is a human wizard that is a 2/2 for 1, a green and a blue. And it says, when Biomathematician enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put a +1/+1 counter on each fractal you control. So if you're a fractal token deck, that's a pretty good card. It's giving you a fractal. It's pumping your fractals. It's 3 mana. It can do some stuff on its own. All of the text is really just helpful at the beginning. Then it's just a 2/2. Moldering Karak we have seen before. Zombie Crocodile with Trample and Lifelink for 4 mana, 3/3. I like the Trample, I like the Lifelink. Campus Guide we've seen before. He's the Campus Guide, yeah. I've got him like 3 times now. Study Break. Instant for 1 and a white. It says tap up to 2 target creatures and learn. Yeah, instant speed tapping creatures, that's a pain for your opponents. It's not in Commander, it's not something that make them really upset with you, because you're not killing their creatures, you're not exiling their creatures, you're just tapping them. Like, you can play, don't worry, just not right now. You know, maybe think about attacking someone else next turn. Then we have Curate. This is a 1 and a blue instant that says, look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest back on top of your library in any order, and then draw a card. So this is a scry, scry 2, and then draw a card. Dragon's Approach, get us a dragon card. Mage Duel we just saw. Essence Infusion. This is a sorcery for 1 and a black, and it says put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It gains lifelink until end of turn. So in a deck like Witherbloom, this is giving you the counters you want. This is giving you the lifelink you want, or lifelink will give you, the life gain that you want, which is going to give you more counters. It works out. Pest Summoning. This also works out pretty well in Witherbloom. This is a sorcery lesson card for 1 and 2 hybrid black-green. And it says, create 2 1/1 black and green pest creature tokens with, when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. So there's, they die, there's 2 life coming back to you. Think about things. You got a bunch of these tokens out, and people do a board wipe that's going to kill off all your tokens. If they're all pests, all that life is coming back to you. And then all that life, that becomes a problem. Unless you have a card that can be protected from that thing, then it becomes awesome, because then it would do things like trigger your commander, which is like, oh, you gained life, let me give you counters. But if everything dies, then bye-bye counters. Then an uncommon card. This is the Tenured Inkcaster. This is a Vampire Warlock. It's a 2/2 for 4 and a black. This better have some good text. For 2/2, that's for 5 mana. It says, when Tenured Inkcaster enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So far, not worth it. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. As long as you keep this one alive, then, there's going to be life loss on their part, life gain on your part. It could work out. But it's only when you're attacking. I don't know. I'm not thrilled by that card. Did I forget to show the token, or did I? No, I think it was just a. Yeah. All right. Uncommons and rares. We'll call it the top 5. Oh yeah. That makes me happy. There's no rares in this one though, but there's a mythic, so I guess we'll take this mythic. This Professor Onyx mythic. Oh yeah. All right. First up, let's get everything but Professor Onyx, because I'm going to put her on display. Academic Dispute. This is an instant for a red. It says, target creature blocks this turn if able. You may have it gain reach until end of turn and learn. Prismari Apprentice, we've seen before, but I'll read it anyway. This is a blue-red for a human shaman. That's a 2/2. It has Magecraft, so whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Prismari Apprentice can't be blocked this turn. If that spell has mana value 5 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on Prismari Apprentice. So the idea being here, pump him up, get counters on him, cast your instant or sorceries, making him unblockable. And heck, if they're bigger spells, you get to make him even bigger. Then we have Strategic Planning, which I believe we've seen before, but this is a sorcery for 1 and a blue. It says, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Not a big fan of that. This is basically a scry 3, draw one of those, but then get rid of the other 2 instead of putting them on the bottom of your library. All right, Resculpt. We've seen before. This is a common card. In fact, I believe we just saw this, but it is a shiny, cool foil common card. All right, I am going to completely move these out of the way because we have got the professor herself, Professor Onyx. And if she looks familiar to you, she should, because this is Liliana. It's everyone's favorite mono black planeswalker. Now, this is a legendary planeswalker. It is 4 and 2 blacks to cast. And automatically this has Magecraft, and it says whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So, life gain, life loss. So I've been looking at what to upgrade my Witherbloom deck with, and there were some suggestions made. One of them took Obnixilis Planeswalker out of the deck to put in a card that I was not a fan of, honestly, in Lady Danger's upgrade. You know, to each their own with that. But putting a Professor Onyx in there, I don't know that I can argue against that very much. Let's see if I can't raise this up a little higher to make it easier to read. There we go. All right. So, starts off with 5 loyalty. You can +1 Professor Onyx, and it says you lose 1 life. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So we actually just saw this on... what card was that? Strategic Planning, basically. So the Strategic Planning we saw, which was look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. So Liliana or Professor Onyx's +1 does that, but you also lose a life. So it's actually a downside to that Strategic Planning, but it's +1ing you. You can deal with the life loss with these black decks. Now, her -3 ability, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. That is a nasty -3. It's like, all right, all of you who's playing against me, your biggest creature, kill it. And you could do that immediately when Professor Onyx is cast. Then her ultimate, -8, which 3 turns to get to that thing. That's all it would take. It says, each opponent may discard a card. If they don't, they lose 3 life. Repeat this process 6 more times. So, you could change the word don't to can't. If they don't have at least 6 cards in their hand, they are going to be losing chunks of life. So you could technically, an opponent could lose 18 life off of this ability. It's good. This is not even something that I would worry about hitting necessarily. I guess it would really depend on the card hand size of my opponents. But that -3 ability is really good on its own. destroy the largest creature each opponent controls. And that's it. They don't get anything in return. At least with the it says each opponent may discard a card. Yeah, so you're either taking their hand away from them or you're taking their life away from them 6 times. That's a powerful ultimate. I'll give it that. I'm glad I have Professor Honors. Oops. All right, continuing on. Got I think probably the best Planeswalker in the deck, at least the best monocolored Planeswalker in the set. But still no Elder Dragons, which is making me sad. I want to see them. We've got our Pest. We like those. All right. Repeat number 1. I don't know if we've seen Make Your Mark. I would love to get another pack that is just all brand new cards that I haven't seen yet in like 30 decks. 30 packs. I do like the Scourge Colony. It's kind of silly. All commons in the first 10. Alright. Quandrix Pledge Mage we've just seen. Make Your Mark. This is an instant for a red or a white. It says target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So far, okay, that's not great, but it's only 1 mana. But when that creature dies this turn, it's like when that creature dies this turn, create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. So it's expecting you to put it on something small just to pump it up enough to maybe kill something and sacrifice itself. That's why it's a +0 for the defense. And then when that creature dies, here's a 3/2 spirit creature token. I've already said what I think about the spirit creature tokens. I don't think they're the greatest. But moving on, the Stonebound Mentor. This is a Spirit Advisor, 3/3 for 1, a red and a white, and it says whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, scry 1. I don't know if red-white, what is that? What school is that? Let's look on the box. That is Lorehold. Lorehold, which has apparently a really good precon deck. But I don't know how good they are at graveyard recursion. And to put that on a creature is a little weird. I'm not planning on playing Lorehold anytime soon. I like red-white, but I like it with green. Alright, Soothsayer Adept. This is a Merfolk Wizard. It is a 1/3 for 1 and a blue. And it says, if you pay 1 and a blue and tap it, you may draw a card, then discard a card. No thanks. Pillar Drop Warden. This is our giant spirit dwarf with reach. We've seen it a few times. Scourge Colony, one of my favorite cards in this deck because it's just silly. For 1 and a green, this is a squirrel. It's a 2/2. It's got reach. And it says Scourge Colony gets +2/+2 as long as you control 8 or more lands. So you got it's a green. You're going to have 8 or more lands. I mean, not necessarily immediately, but you can make this a 4/4 squirrel with reach. I wish you could play more than one of these in a commander deck because it would just be hilarious. You're attacked. You're killed by the squirrels. You have the Arrogant Poet, which we have seen before, but only once, so I'll read it again. This is a human warlock that is a 2/1 for 1 and a black. And it says, whenever Arrogant Poet attacks, you may pay 2 life. If you do, it gains flying until end of turn. After it attacks. So I get... No, because it would be tapped. What's the point of that? So you have to... You attack with it. It has to survive. You then have to pay 2 life. Then, while tapped, it gains flying. I don't understand the point of that at all. Like, you have to have some major synergy to keep it from being tapped. I mean, I don't know, put Lightning Greaves on it. I think Lightning Greaves give some sort of equipment that gives it vigilance, so that you can then block flyers with it, I suppose. It's not... It's a lot. There's too much to go into it. Next up, we have the Stonerice Spirit. This is a spirit bird. It is a 1/2 for 1 and a white with flying, because it's a bird. And it has pay 4. Exile a card from your graveyard. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. It's an expensive way to give something flying, but I guess if you have to, you have to. Then we have the Frost Trickster. This is a 2/2 bird wizard for 2 and a blue. Also has flying, because it's a bird wizard. I want a bird that doesn't fly in Magic. That would be funny. You know, it's the ostrich wizard. But it says, when Frost Trickster enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. I like that. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. That's annoying. That's annoying. I love the keep the creatures tapped things. Pacify is one of my favorite spells. It's just like, oh, you've got this nice guy, you can't do anything with him. Ooh, hit my desk. Alright, last common card for, or at least of the first 10 cards. Introduction to Annihilation, which we have seen before. But this is a sorcery lesson for 5 colorless mana. Or 5 mana of whatever color you feel like. And it says, exile target non-land permanent. Its controller draws a card. So it is single target removal, and you give them a card, and it costs you 5. But it's 5 of whatever. We've seen better single target removal cards so far in about every color. Alright, now the uncommons and rares. We have a card that I had mentioned before, but I can now fully talk about. Yeah, ooh. I don't know about this blue-green nonsense, but let's talk about these 5. Sorry, I have a whining cat somewhere. Man, oh well. Alright, Lorehold Excavation. This is a red and a white enchantment card, and it says, at the beginning of your end step, mill a card. Ooh. If a land card was milled this way, you gain 1 life. Okay. Quit into your graveyard, gaining a life. Otherwise, if a land card was milled that way, you gain 1 life. Otherwise, Lorehold Excavation deals 1 damage to each opponent. You may also pay 5. And it says, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Create a tapped 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Hate that part. Hate that part. Would never pay 5. It's not. I don't know that I would want to play this card, honestly. It's not that great. Next up, Mercurial Transformation. We have seen this before, but we'll read it again. 1 and a blue for a sorcery lesson. This says, until the end of turn, target non-land permanent loses all abilities and becomes your choice of a blue frog creature with base power and toughness of 1/1, or a blue octopus creature with base power and toughness of 4/4. The only reason I can see you using the octopus option on this is if you're targeting your own non-land permanent, which I guess you would want like a super cheap, super small creature, because you would never. I mean, you're not gonna cast this on your Soul Ring. Oh, you could cast this on someone's Soul Ring on turn 2. On turn 2. Let's say they get a turn 1 Soul Ring and they're all super proud of it, and you're like, oh yeah, turn 2. I play a land. I play an island for a land. I've already played whatever other type of land or mana, whatever I've got on turn 1. Tap those. Sorcery. Your Soul Ring, which is going to give you 2 mana. It's now a 1/1 frog. Oh, that could be mean. That could be mean, and I kind of like it. All right. I am going to come back to Dina Soul Steeper in a second. I'm even going to hit the Mythic before I talk about that. Divine Gambit, we have seen before. I'm not going to read it again. It's not a good card. Like, it's okay. 2 white, sorcery speed, so bleh. But exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment opponent controls. That's okay. You get artifact, what do you not have? Planeswalkers, pretty much. But that player may then put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. So you're giving them automatic playing for their next go. So they could, it could be any permanent. They could have a frickin' Eldrazi in their hand or an Elder Dragon in their hand. And you're like, okay, I guess you just get to play him now. And I got rid of your Arcane Signet. That's just not a great deal. It's a gamble. That's why it's a Divine Gambit. You are praying that they are, not going to destroy you with whatever that's in their hand. Right, then we have a Mythic Sorcery card. This is Body of Research for 3 green and 3 blue. And it says, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your library. This is a Mythic card. It's not a great card, though. Yes, you could make this thing huge. But you've got to have 3 forests and 3 islands, or, non-basic lands that give you a blue or a green. First, so you've already had to deal with that much mana. That's meaning you're getting your land drops every turn, and they're giving you the exact type of land you need. And you haven't, but in that meantime, you're playing all these other cards, which means your library is shrinking. Push comes to shove, you could have something that literally you just create a token that wipes out another player in a single turn. But I'd put it in there, but I wouldn't expect to really use it because unless you could end up having something that you copy this spell, that could be nasty. Then if that's the case, then you're wiping out 2 of your opponents at once. All right. Now, this is why I want to talk about Dina Soul Steeper. 1, the fact that it looks like Lady Danger, which is just funny. But this is a legendary creature. This is a Witherbloom. It is a single black and green. It's a cheap legendary creature. Dryad Druid. She is a 1/3. And it says, whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Cool. I can dig that. Then it says, pay 1. Sacrifice another creature. Dina Soul Steeper gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the sacrificed creature's power. So you're only paying 1 mana to do that. You're gaining life. Whenever you gain life, an opponent loses life. But they're only losing 1 life. So you could gain 20 life, they lose 1 life. That's, if it was whenever you gain life, each opponent loses an equal amount of life. That would be better. But to pay 1, and then you have to sacrifice one of your creatures, which could be a token. I wish it wasn't until end of turn. I wish it stacked. But it's commander damage. If you play her as a commander, that becomes commander damage. So you could pump up something like a pest token to something stupidly big. Where people are like, well, okay, we can block this, we can get rid of it, and it doesn't go to the graveyard to possibly come back. It's just gone. But then you sacrifice it to Dina. Now, granted, she's still only got 3 toughness, so you got to deal with that. But if you can swing in with huge amount of damage, it's commander damage, that can kill an opponent with a couple shots. I like Dina. I don't think she's the best possible Witherbloom commander, but I think she is a good one to have. She's also just a good legendary creature to keep in Witherbloom. I like saying Witherbloom instead of Orzhov? Is that green, black, green? Alright, I think we are just getting another advertisement. Yes, we are. So let's pull out our first 10. Oh gosh. 3 repeats, 4 repeats, 5 repeats. Uh-oh. So I'm just going to do this. All 5 of these we have seen before. If I haven't mentioned them, go look on the other VODs of this. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Uh-oh. We're going to go... Yeah. All of our commons are repeats. We've got Resculpt, Pigment Storm, Big Play, Novice Dissector, Environmental Sciences. This is a sad pack. Maybe it will give me some good stuff in the uncommons and rares. Let's see. This is new. This might be a good card. I don't know. Right. No Elder Dragons, nor legendary creatures, but we've got Symmetry Sage. This is a human wizard. It is a 0/2 for a blue. It has flying. And it has Magecraft. It says whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, target creature you control has base power 2 until end of turn. That's... I mean, yeah, if you give her the base power 2 to make her worth anything but a blocker, like a flying blocker, I mean, cast an instant, okay, I've got 2, I can hit you in the air for 2. That I can see being useful. Giving it to another creature, that ain't that great unless it's like a 1/2 or 1/3 with Death Touch. I can see that. Right, Golden Ratio is a sorcery card for 1, a green, and a blue. It says draw a card for each different power among creatures you control. So if you get a bunch of creatures out there, token creatures, regular creatures, they're all of different power, you get to draw a bunch of cards. I like it. I wish it wasn't sorcery speed though. But it makes sense that it is, actually. I wish everything was at instant speed. I guess I just need I need Vidalcan Orrery. I don't think I can afford Vidalcan Orrery. I have a feeling it's pretty expensive. Alright, next up, Professor of Symbology. I absolutely hate that word. This is a 2/1 core cleric for 1 and a white, and it says when Professor of Symbology enters the battlefield, learn. This is absolutely useless in Commander. Get it out of here. Alright. Pretty nice looking card. I like the art style. It's very old school fairy tale looking. This is an Adventurous Impulse. It's a sorcery card for a single green. And it says look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. This is a scry/draw type of card that I'm fine with. You're not putting them in your graveyard. You're not exiling. You're not paying extra life. It's all right. You got a land or a creature in there. Cool. You can put it into your hand. The rest, bottom of the library in any order. You're going to probably pull a card that shuffles them, and then you might get them later. But you're taking your best. Well, not necessarily your best, but you're taking a card. You know, you're playing this. You're looking for a creature or a land. That's what you're hoping for. All right. Then we have the rare card, Draconic Intervention. It's a sorcery card for 2 and 2 reds. And it says, as an additional cost to this spell, exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Boo. Let's see what it does, though. Draconic Intervention deals X damage to each non-dragon creature, where X is the exiled card's mana value. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile instead, then exile Draconic Intervention. This is really only good if you're playing an all-dragon deck, so even the Kiki Jiki deck that I am planning on building here in the next week or so would not be great, because Kiki Jiki would die. And he would die hard, so say exile, and granted he can go back to the command zone, but you can only do this once, because then you have to exile this card. And I don't really think there's exile recursion. There's put your graveyard into your hand, put your graveyard into your library. Those are all fun. But now I like the dragon cards that let you get more dragons. I want dragons. Give me an Elder Dragon. Alright. We have got a double face card. That's fine. Alright. Oops. Let's get this into the camera. What do we have here? Besides some repeats. I guess actually not as many repeats as I expected. Well, this will be interesting because we've got an uncommon in the first 10. So I wonder what the bottom 5 will show us. So first up is the Owlin Shield Mage. This is a 3/3 Bird Warlock for 3, a white, and a black. This has flying, and this has ward, pay 3 life. So you make any time an opponent anytime this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player pays 3 life. Depending on the time of the game that happens, they might not want to do that, or they'll die or be easily killed. So they may just have their thing countered. I would rather pay the 3 life than pay the, say, 2 mana. That would be usually the other option. Alright. Then we have Ogiar Battleseer. This is a 3/4 Ogre Shaman for 3, a blue and a red. He has haste, and he says if you tap him, scry 1. I like it. It's a 5 mana. It's only 3/4, but he's got haste, so he gets to attack immediately. You can probably pump him pretty easily, or you can scry with him. So he's got haste. I guess you could tap him immediately and scry, perhaps. Quandrix Campus we have seen. It's the same as all those campuses, just changing the color setup. Enthusiastic Study, I believe we've seen, but this is an instant for 2 and a red. And this says target creature gets +3/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. It also has learn, which not that helpful for Commander, but it is helpful for most other decks. But here's a nice thing. So you cast Ogiar Battleseer for 5 mana. Maybe you got something that reduces the mana cost. That would be awesome. It's got haste. It can go right in, but it's a 3/4. It might not make it. Well, let's say you got a lot of mana out there. You got a lot of mana dorks, a lot of lands, and you got 3 open, so you cast Enthusiastic Study. Now, this is a 6/5 with haste and trample until the end of this turn. Now he's become a big, scary thing that people are going to be afraid of. Next up, something that has not happened much in the last calendar year, field trips. This is a sorcery for 2 and a green. And this says, search your library for a basic forest card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Learn. 3 mana to get a basic forest card. It is tapped. And then you have to shuffle your deck. Sorcery speed. I'd rather play Cultivate. It's what it is. It's not a great card. It's a cool looking card, but it's not a great card. Unwilling Ingredient. This is just a silly card. This is a frog. It's a 1/1 for 1 black that is. It's got Menace. It's a 1/1 with Menace. God, this is the waste your opponent's turn. Like, waste your opponent's characters to let something better attack. But it also has pay 2 and a black, and you can exile Unwilling Ingredient from your graveyard. So after it's died, exile it from your graveyard, draw a card, and lose a life. So I like it. It's lots of value. You know, if you can pump it too, then it's not just a mess with your opponent's sort of card. You know, if you can do something, give it Death Touch, oh, that's just mean. I've got this little 1/1 that's got Menace, so you've got to put 2 of your bigger things on it. Oh yeah, it's got Death Touch. They're both dead. Then we have Guiding Voice. This is a sorcery for 1 white, and it says put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and learn. That's fine. That's a fine card. It's 1 mana. It's a 1/1 counter. If it weren't commander, you can grab a card from your sideboard. Cool. We have Arcane Subtraction. This is an instant for 1 and a blue, and it says target creature gets -4/-0 until end of turn and learn. So keep your creature alive card, because you're taking away power. Expanded Anatomy we have seen, but this is 3 colorless for a sorcery lesson card. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It gains vigilance until end of turn. I kind of want to put this on Unwilling Ingredient. So now it's a 2/2 with Menace and Vigilance, so it can attack and defend. Oh, poor guys. It's like, oh, he attacked. Never mind. All right, then we have Flunk for 1 and a black. This is an instant. And it says target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is 7 minus the number of cards in that creature's controller's hand. So if they're top decking, it's a -7/-7 on a creature. If they've got a full hand of cards, it's 0. It's just, you don't cast. If they got almost a full deck or a full deck, don't cast this card, because then it's doing either just -1/-1 or 0. You know, this is, you wait for your opponent to have a low hand or no hand. But it's instant speed, so you could do something where, target opponent discards their hand, then you hit them with this, and they've got this one creature out there, that's all they've got. They've got no hand, and now it's dead. All right. The final 5 of this pack. Hey, that's a fancy looking card there that I've seen before. This is our rare. I'm going to do this. All right, first off, Golden Ratio we just saw, but it's a shiny foil Golden Ratio. Pretty. Detention Vortex. I have a feeling I know what this card is going to do without reading it yet. But this is an enchantment aura for a white. It says enchant non-land permanent. Enchanted permanent cannot attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. This is my absolutely favorite type of card to play. More so even than a straight up 2 mana counterspell. Though I do like that, and that's back in this set. Oddly enough, I don't think in this entire booster box I've pulled one. I pulled it in a different, normal booster pack that I've picked up outside of this box, but I haven't seen this yet in this set. Maybe it doesn't come in these draft boosters. I don't know. But Counterspell's back, baby. Straight up Counterspell. Also, Detention Vortex also has this ability. Pay 3 mana. Destroy Detention Vortex. Only your opponents may activate this ability and only as a sorcery. That's a bummer. That means they can get out of it by paying mana. But I think you can counterspell that. I feel like you could counterspell that. I wish I could use that in Witherbloom. It would make my life so much fun. You can use it in Silverquill, which, speaking of Silverquill, the Silverquill Apprentice. This is a human warlock. It is a 2/2 for a white and a black. And it has Magecraft, which says whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. That's not a great Magecraft spell, but it's a super cheap card. Alright, now let's go on to Infuriate. Really great art. I love this art. Let's actually put it where we can see what is going on here. I'm going to have to make this quite bigger. Alright, Infuriate. It is an instant for a single red, and it says target creature gets +3/+2 until end of turn. Bump, bump, bump. Give him that magic mushroom and make him bigger. Alright. Now, this last card we have, this is the rare in this pack. One of the coolest pieces of art, I think, in this set, in my opinion. This is a sorcery card, unfortunately, sadly. But this is Witherbloom Command. It is only a black and a green, and it lets you choose 2 of the following abilities? Spell slots? I don't know what you call it. You can choose target player mills 3 cards. Then you return a land card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, extra land draw, I guess. Plus their milling cards. Destroy target... This is badly worded. Destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. So that's like destroy a Soul Ring. Destroy an Arcane Signet. Get rid of some mana dorks. Frustrating. Not game-winning, but frustrating. Then you have target creature gets -3/-1 until end of turn. Again, annoying. This would basically be like, oh, you're gonna block. You think you're gonna block me? Well, your guy's really weak now. And then the last option is target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Now this is obviously it's Witherbloom Command. This is a Witherbloom card. Things we like. We like your opponent losing life, you gaining life. We also like our own self losing life at certain times. We like putting counters on our own creatures, not specifically on other people's creatures. We like to stymie things, so, I mean, I like the destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less, because you're dealing with a lot of small artifacts. Those are probably my favorite 2 options in Witherbloom Command. What do you guys think? What would you choose in this? You got these 4 options. Which 2 would you choose if you were playing green-black? We are getting low on packs. We have got 9 remaining, which does not seem like we're getting that low. But if you watched the other parts and you saw just how many packs there were, 9 out of 36. We are 3/4 of the way through. But we're also at a point where we're going to be hitting a lot of repeats. Hey, guess what? It's maybe the most repeated card that I remember seeing that's not Looking for Dragons, or whatever that card is called. And even some of the ones that are repeats, I still like them. I could put them in multiple types of decks, maybe. All right, Teach by Example. We've seen it. It's an instant for 2 hybrid red-blue. It says when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. This is... They need this in more colors. It's a copy. And it's when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell. So it's kind of like, you play this, and you're like, what? And then you play your next card, and then it activates. And it says this turn. So it would be funny if you could put this out there and then just wait. Like, when's it going to be? We've got the Silver Quill Pledge Mage. This is a Vampire Cleric 3/1 for 1 and 2 hybrid black-whites with Magecraft that says whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Silver Quill Pledge Mage gains your choice of flying or lifelink until end of turn. I think we might have seen this tonight. I don't remember. I've looked at a lot of cards. That's fine. It's actually not bad. Spectacle Mage. 1, a blue and a red for a 2/2 Bird Shaman. Flying, instant and sorcery spells you cast with mana value 5 or greater cost 1 less to cast. It's got flying. It's a 2/2 for 3. He's got to stick around long enough to give any of that value, and it's not great value. Pilgrim of the Ages, we've seen many, many times. I'm not going over it. Pop Quiz, we've seen like every 5th pack, it seems. Twin Scroll Shaman, Dwarf Shaman with Double Strike. It's a 1/2 for 3, 2 and a red. I like Double Strike. It's just weak. It's a weak Double Striker. Spined Karok. Yeah, we've seen this. It's a 2/4 for 2 and a green. That's all it is. Promising Dusk Mage, a human warlock. It's a 2/3 for 2 and a black. It says when Promising Dusk Mage dies, if it had a +1/+1 counter on it, draw a card. If you're putting this in Witherbloom, you can very easily put that +1/+1 counter on it. So you put counters on it, it gets bigger. It dies, you draw a card. Win-win. The Elemental Summoning, it is 3 and then 2 hybrid blue-red. It's a sorcery lesson card. It says create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. When? I don't know when. It doesn't say when you die, when you enter the battlefield. So I guess you play it and you create the 4/4 blue-red elemental creature token. It's kind of confusing. It has a weird... Does this have anything on the back? No. It's got an interesting little symbol. I don't know what this symbol means. I don't know if that's for like a different... Because it's maybe a slightly different looking card, but I don't think so. I'll have to look up and find out what that means. I don't know. Last of these first 10 cards of the commons. Actually, this is an uncommon, so cross your fingers for that Elder Dragon still. Witherbloom Apprentice. This is a human druid, 2/2 for a black and a green with Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life, which triggers all of our Witherbloom abilities, and we're happy with this. Good Apprentice. Good cheap Witherbloom card. I'm fairly certain you're already in my Witherbloom deck. But, hey, guess what? He still works. Now, the last 5 of this deck, I also forgot this. 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Ooh. Ooh, that's a rare? Let's put this guy down here. Oh, that's why. What a useless foil. Alright, first off, useless foil card, Prismari Campus. I mean, it's not useless. It's add a, tap it for add a blue or a red, but then pay 4 and tap it to scry 1. That part's kind of useless. It's just we've seen these campuses constantly. Way more than card that I don't even care about. Pop Quiz. And Pop Quiz isn't a bad card. It's pay 3 to draw a card. That's far better than pay 4 and tap so you don't get the land, or you don't get the mana to scry one, to look at a card. Anyways. Alright. Igneous Inspiration. This is a 2 and a red sorcery card. It says Igneous Inspiration deals 3 damage to any target and learn. This would be way more impressive if learn was something you could do in games like Commander. Obviously I'm looking at these as possible Commander cards, so that's why I'm getting down on learn. I'd really, really love to use it, but no sideboard, can't use it. But paying 3 to do 3 damage to any target, which could be a planeswalker, it could be a creature, it could be the opponent themselves. That's not bad. There's plenty of red cards that do pretty much the same thing for about the same mana cost, so you could stack up your deck with these basically burn spells, just burn out your opponents. I mean, it's red. It's a very red thing to do. I created technically a historic deck because it was standard when I created it, and it was not standard for very long after that. But it's a mono red deck, and it's called Go Boom. This card would fit in perfectly with there. And it would give me learn so I could have more fun stuff to happen. We have the Brackish Trudge up next. This is a 4/2 fungus beast. For 2 and a black. It says Brackish Trudge enters the battlefield tapped. Sad days. But pay 1 and a black and return Brackish Trudge from your graveyard to your hand. Activate only if you have gained life this turn. So you can bring him back. Granted, you bring him back to your hand from the graveyard, and then he'll have to come back in tapped. But he's a 4/2 for 3. That's not bad. So, we'll see. Alright, to the bottom right here. This is Agonizing Remorse. This is a 1 and a black sorcery card. It says, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it or card from their graveyard. Exile that card. You lose 1 life. So, I love this card. It's so mean. Hey, opponent, let me see your hand. Cool. Kill this card. Or, I choose a non-land card from it. You know what? I don't care about any of the cards in your hand. You remember that big card you had before, that card that you want to bring back? Exile it. Sure, I'll lose a life for that. I don't care. Why not? Alright. So, last up, our rare card. This is the Demogoth Titan. This is a 11/10 demon for 4. Hybrid black-green. 4 hybrid black-green. So 4 black, 4 green, 2 and 2, 3 and 1. Whatever floats your boat. 11/10. And I don't care about the downside to this card. Oh, but still my heart. Whenever Demogoth Titan attacks or blocks, sacrifice a creature. Oh, put this in with pests. Put this in with pests. This is a... Oh, I have to look at my Witherbloom deck. Does this exist in there? If not, it's got a spot. Big, bad monster creature that I could pump if I wanted to with all of the life gain options. And then just take everybody out. Plus also, that pest creature that dies from it attacking. Then gains me 1 life, which then lets my commander put a +1/+1 counter, I think, or +1/+. If it's +1/+0, I'll be sad. But if it's +1/+1, never-ending cycle of just pain and misery for your opponents. Isn't that the Magic way? Alright, first up, we've got a 0/0 Fractal. I guess he's blue-green. He's a token. The colors don't really matter that much. It's just it goes with certain things. Alright. It's a good thing I don't have to wake up early tomorrow morning. Ooh, that might be new. I don't think it is, but it might be. Yeah. I'm starting to giggle at some of these cards, even though I've seen, I think, all of them before. I just love some of these cards. I think some of them are just have fun art or fun names. All right. All commons. First 10 cards, all commons. Make Your Mark. We've seen it's not a great card. I don't like it very much, but it is only 1 mana, so that's actually it's not a. Let me rephrase it. It's a great card for 1 mana. Stonebound Mentor, Spirit Advisor creature for 1, a red and white. It's a 3/3. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, scry 1. Hey, that's always good news. Biblioplex Assistant. I believe we've seen it 1 time before. This is a 2/1 gargoyle for 4 colorless mana. It has flying. That's always good. When Biblioplex Assistant enters the battlefield, put up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. So I'm going to make a comparison to this in just a minute, once I get to the last card on here. But we're going to go through the others real quick because we've seen this. Relic Sloth. It's a 4/4 for 3 red and a white. So 4/4 for 5, but it's got Vigilance and it's got Menace. It's a great combo. It's going to stymie your opponents. It's a good card. In fact, using it with Make Your Mark, it's a great card because now it becomes a 5/4. And it doesn't cost. It costs 1 more extra mana to do that. Then you have the Blood Age General. This is a 2/2 Spirit Warrior for 1 and a red. And it says tap this. Attacking spirits get +1/+0 until end of turn. I mean, you're creating 3/2 spirit creature tokens. That's really what it's attacking spirits. So Stonebound Mentor, which is a Spirit Advisor, also gets +1/+0. Becomes a 4/3. Not bad. Professor of Zoomancy. It's a Bear Professor. I love it. I love the card. I just like it a lot. Don't know why this random card is out of focus. Is it focused? There we go. Sort of. Yeah, okay. Alright, Professor's Warning. This is for 1 black. It's an instant. So it's a 1 mana instant. Always good times. Choose 1. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It fits within Witherbloom. Or target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Always good. Always good. And it's for 1 mana. And it's got our lovely Professor Onyx on it. So, synergy. At least thematic. Then we have the Pillar Drop Rescuer. We've seen this a few times before, but not tonight. This is a 2/2 Spirit Cleric. So, again, synergy with the Blood Age General. It is 4 and a white, and it has flying. When Pillars Drop Rescuer enters the battlefield, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. So, let's say it's dead. You could bring this back to your hand if it's dead. You could bring this back to your hand if it's dead. And they're all 3 still working together. If it is a Lorehold deck. Curate we have recently seen, but here is the card that I want to talk about when it comes to its not combination, but it's how it looks similar to the Biblioplex Assistant. And not even directly. So let's put this up here on the riser. Let's see if we can't put them both up here on the riser. All right. So at first glance, they don't look anything alike. Inkling Summoning. This is a sorcery lesson card for 1 and then 2 hybrid black-white mana. It says create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. Now the reason I'll bring it, so 2/1 black Inkling creature token with flying. Biblioplex Assistant for 4 mana, so costing 1 more mana than the Inkling Summoning that's giving us that 2/1 flyer, is a 2/1 flyer. Now, an Inkling is a token creature. It doesn't go to the graveyard, it just goes away when it dies. But it's a token creature. It's not being cast itself, it's part of sorceries or instants or creature effects or whatever the case may be. And a 2/1 flyer is as good as a full-blown creature card. Biblioplex Assistant as a creature card, however, is still vastly superior to that Inkling. But the Inkling's a token, and tokens come and go, so it's got its own superiority. But it's the second part of Biblioplex Assistant that I really like with this card. You know, when it enters the battlefield, put up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. So, let's say you cast this last turn, you get your 2/1 black and white flying Inkling creature. The next turn you cast this. This goes to the top of your library. The next turn you pull it and you cast it. There's another, within 3 turns you've got 3 2/1 flyers going on. That's a good combo. Those are very similar in what they, an Inkling and the Biblioplex Assistant are very similar in what they do. So, yeah. I don't know where I was going with that, but I just think they're both really, really good cards. So we have got... still no Elder Dragons, but we've got some good cards here. Lorehold Apprentice, a red and a white human cleric that is a 2/2. So it's a 2/2 for 2, which is something I love to say. This has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell until end of turn, spirit creatures you control gain, you may tap them. This creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. So all those creatures that I was just showing that work really well together, instead of attacking, which you kind of want to do with those because they're helping to beef each other up and keep each other going, this one's like, okay, we're going to tap you. We're going to make sure you stay alive because you're not going to be able to block. You're all going to deal 1 damage. But that's kind of annoying. If you've got something to untap them, or if they have vigilance, then it's amazing because Lorehold Apprentice, and if you have vigilance on a spirit creature, you can literally tap that spirit creature to deal 1 damage. It untaps. Cast another instant or sorcery. Tap that creature. It deals 1 damage. It untaps. Kind of every time, just over and over. Just picking away at an opponent. Then you've got Bookworm, which we have seen before. Just not tonight. This is a 7/7 worm creature for 7 and green. So it's a 7/7 for 8 with trample. That's terrifying. And it says, when Bookworm enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life and draw a card. And that's going to affect Witherbloom Commander. It's going to put +1/+1s. Yada, yada, yada. We've seen it before. This thing, before it ever gets a chance to attack, can be stupidly big. You can also then pay 2 and a green and put Bookworm from your graveyard into your library 3rd from the top. That's enough to scare people. That's going to say, hey, guess what? He's coming back. Here's your count. You got 3 turns to kill me. Of course, then he also makes you the archenemy and a target. Kumse Kumsa. Next up is an instant for 1 and a white. It is Show of Confidence. And don't they just look confident on that card? This says, when you cast this spell, copy it for each other instant and sorcery spell you've cast this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies. Oh my. Because what it does is it puts +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains vigilance until end of turn. Oh boy. Depending on when you play this card in your turn, you can do some scary, scary stuff. Especially if you are just throwing down cards. I don't know. It looks like I'm drumming or just doing weird things. I don't know. Hands have a mind of their own. Alright. Next up is a rare land card. This is Shine Shadow Snarl. It says, as Shine Shadow Snarl enters the battlefield, you may reveal a Plains or Swamp card from your hand. If you don't, Shine Shadow Snarl enters the battlefield tapped. I think that's fine. Okay, I got a Plains. I got a Swamp. You know I've got some land draw with me. So, I mean, you do that, it comes in normal, you can tap it. And it's red, or it's a white and a black. White or black, I should say. Yeah, I see no reason not to play this and diversify your mana. Then we have a Mythic card with awesome art. This is an instant card, Increasing Vengeance, for 2 red. And it says, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. If this spell was cast from a graveyard, copy that spell twice instead. Oh my. You may choose new targets for the copies. And it has flashback, so pay 3 and 2 red. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then exile it. I'm not entirely sure what this, if this spell was cast from a graveyard. Does that mean Increasing Vengeance was cast from a graveyard? Or the spell you're copying is cast from a graveyard? Oh, I guess you could do this because, I mean, even this has flashback. There's plenty of spells that let you cast them from a graveyard. So then you're copying it twice. That's not bad. And then you can flashback this and do it all over again. Yeah, just make things go boom a lot. I like that. Right, as my mental state is deteriorating, we are getting down to the final 7 decks. 15 cards in a rep. This is why I wanted the 12 card boosters instead of the 15s. Alright, we've got an Inkling. Gosh, this is like the second Inkling token I've gotten out of this set. And for, you know, something that's a whole new thing, you think it would be in here more often than it is. Hey, look, it's another campus card. I'm so thrilled by that. Can you tell? Oh, it's another big play, another Mavis Dissector. I do like Vortex Runner. Alright. Witherbloom Pledge Mage, we've seen before. Its Magecraft ability gives you a life. It's a 5/5 for 5, 3 and 2 black-green hybrid mana. 5/5 for 5 is already pretty good, and the Magecraft is really nice. This is a solid card. There's a lot of Witherbloom. I've got a set with a lot of Witherbloom. It's a good thing that's what I'm choosing to play for Commander. We have Blood Researcher. This is a Vampire Druid. It's a 2/2 for 1 black and a green. It has Menace. Always good. And it says, whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Blood Researcher. Oh my, this is going to get big as well. I know that I have this in my Witherbloom deck because I just looked at it last night. Witherbloom Campus, who cares? Sorry, I just don't anymore. Cram Session, we have seen this before, but it's another Witherbloom card. This is 4 Witherblooms in a row. And then, these two could be part of Witherbloom as well. In fact, I think they are. Cram Session is a sorcery card for 1 black or green. It says you gain 4 life. Life gain, lots of life gain. And learn. Dig it. 4 life for 2 mana. I'll pay that every day in this specific type of a deck. We've got Heated Debate. This is an instant for 2 and a red. It says this spell cannot be countered. And this includes by the ward ability. That's big. If it can't be countered by the ward ability, that's a big deal. And it says Heated Debate deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Again, right in my Go Boom deck. Probably going to go in the Kiki Jiki deck too, because that could be single target removal, no problem. Big play, don't care about. Novice Dissector, don't care about. We've seen them so many times. Beaming Defiance. This is an instant for 1 white, and this is target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains Hexproof. This might be the first time I've read Hexproof in this set. Until end of turn, which means it cannot be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. It can still be literally hit in the face, but it can't be a target of a spell or an ability. Vortex Runner, we've seen a couple times, but it's a good card. It's a 2/3 human wizard for 2 and a blue. As long as you control 8 or more lands, which if you're playing Commander, you definitely should be at some point. Not early, but obviously. But Vortex Runner gets +1/+0 and cannot be blocked. Unblockable is real nice. Expanded Anatomy we have seen a number of times tonight even, but in general. So I'm not going to cover that. Let's get to the final 5 of this pack. Our uncommons and rares and sometimes silly common foils. We have an amazing legendary card. I like it, even though it is just a uncommon. We have Overgrown Arch to start out with. This is a plant wall. It is a 0/4. It is a defender. Costs 1 and 1 green. You can tap it and you gain a life. Or you can pay 2 and you can sacrifice Overgrown Arch and then learn. So if you play Commander, you'll never use that 2-mana ability. There'd be 0 reason for it. You can tap, you can not use this, have this be a defender and gain life, which is going to do things with your Witherbloom Commander, giving +1/+1, or you've got a 0/4 defender. The next up is Thunderous Orator, which we have seen before. This is a 2/2 core wizard for 1 and a white. It's got Vigilance, always good. It says when Thunderous Orator attacks, it gains flying until end of turn. If you control a creature with flying, the same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch. Oh my gosh. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, and Trample. Okay. I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable there. Let me reread this card. When Thunderous Orator attacks, it gains flying until the end of turn if you control a creature with flying. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, and Trample. So, the nice thing it says is whenever Thunderous Orator attacks, not after Thunderous Orator attacks, or once Thunderous Orator has attacked. So, he's attacking. If you've got a flyer, he's an attacker with flying. If you've got, thankfully not defender. If you've got hexproof, No, not hexproof. If you've got Double Strike, if you've got Death Touch, if you get Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Trample, First Strike, you know, you can have multiple creatures, each one of them having one of these abilities or two of these abilities. He gets all of them for 2 mana. Oh, you could make this guy a game winner right there. I mean, a 2 mana card that you could make into a game winner. But it depends on the rest of your deck. It depends on how creature heavy your deck is. I have a whining cat again. Alright. Legendary creature. He is a Lorehold creature. He's a 2/4 Elephant Cleric. Quintorius Field Historian. He costs 3, a red and a white. He's an elephant man. Yeah. I don't think you guys can hear my cat, but if you can, she's whining. She probably wants more water. She's a water fiend. She's got water. She's not going without water. Trust me. Anyways, so this card says, spirits you control get +1/+0. Me. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Now, it's not like once per turn or anything like that, so that can actually be like a really strong sort of a thing, because not only do you create it, they then become a 4/2. So these spirit creature tokens, you know, you have a card leave a graveyard, boom, spirit creature token, boom, +1/+0. So if you've got a lot of graveyard recursion in your Lorehold, you're going to be set up pretty well. Rare card number 1, Rushed Rebirth. This is a black and a green instant card, so 2 mana instant in Witherbloom. I almost said Witherhold. Witherbloom. It says choose target creature. When that creature dies this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser mana value. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. It's a little bit of a gamble because you kind of pretty much know that this creature is going to die. So maybe you have the ability to sacrifice that creature, then it dies. Then you get your next creature card out. It's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. But then you have Abundant Harvest, which is our last rare card for this pack. It is a single green sorcery card. Choose land or non-land. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card of the chosen kind. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. At least it's not put them in your graveyard or exile them. This is the bottom of your library. The card is going into your hand, not onto the battlefield. It's only 1 green. And heck, you could reveal 1 card. You could reveal 20 cards, depending on how bad your shuffle was. I'm not a fan. I mean, it's got chances, but they're chances. You can see her right there. This is my cat, Lily. She's hiding her head from you. You see me, Lily? Turn your head. She's sitting on my magic cards. She's sitting on my long boxes of magic cards. Maybe it's a sign that I'm going to get an Elder Dragon or some sort of cat creature. I haven't seen many cat creatures. Alright, what's our thing on the bottom? It is a treasure card. Always fun. I like treasure. I want treasure. Let's put our first 10, our commons, onto the playmat. Let's just throw them around tonight. This looks like a 7th grader that I teach, by the way. Ooh, that's a cool looking card. You see the look of disgust. That's why. At least it wasn't. Some of the others. All right, Rise of Exodus. We have not seen tonight. It's a sorcery for 4, and then 2 hybrid black whites, and it says exile target creature. Exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard, and then learn. You get to exile 2 cards, a creature, and an instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. Could be worth 6. Could be worth 6. It's multiple target removal. It's not just single target, it's multiple target. It's one of those removals for something that's been taken off the board anyway. But graveyard recursion is a thing. So, alright, next up, Exhilarating Elocution. I love those. Can't think of the word. And the words all have the first letter in there. We're getting a few of those in this pack. Right, Exhilarating Elocution is a sorcery card for 2, a white and a black. It says put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Other creatures you control get a +1/+1 until end of turn. That's a decent card. It's 4 mana for that. But you get one creature gets +2/+2, and everybody else gets +1/+1 until the end of that turn. So strengthening your entire creature hand. Then we have the Spiteful Squad, which is apparently a single human warlock. And it is a 4 mana, 2, a white and a black for 0/0. But this 0/0 has Death Touch. And it says Spiteful Squad enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So it starts off as a 2/2. But I actually really like this card. Makes Silverquill a fun little thing. It says when Spiteful Squad dies, put its counters on target creature you control. So it's got Death Touch. It's killing whatever it's going up against. And then once it does die, I just thought of something. It says when Spiteful Squad dies, put its counters on target creature you control. Now, at first glance, that makes it sound like you put those 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. If you pump this up with counters, you will put all of those counters on target creature you control. This card was already nice. Now it's great. This is something that, when I have a chance, I will be playing. Next up, who cares? Silverquill Campus. Eager First Year. It gives you the +1/+0 sort of Magecraft thing. On itself. It's a 2/2, so you're just like, okay, become a 3/2. Till the end of the turn. It's not great. But it's 2 mana, so. Sooth. Words, they're hard. I have a shirt that says words are hard. Maybe I should be wearing that instead of the Star Wars Abbey Road parody. So, I love this shirt. I just got it. It's great. Got it at Kohl's. Real cheap. Real soft, too. But these... Anyway, you can tell I'm getting tired because my brain's not working. But we're so close. We're getting close. Soothsayer Adept, 1 and a blue. Merfolk Wizard, it's a 1/3. You can pay 1 and a blue and tap it to draw a card, then discard a card. I'm not a fan of this card. The Illustrious Historian, 1 and a red for a 2/1 human shaman. And aside from being a 2/1, it says you can pay 5. You can exile Illustrious Historian from your graveyard. When you do, create a tapped 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Totally not worth it. Field Trip, we've seen. Hunt for Specimens, 1 and a black, and it's got Ardina, legendary creature, on the art. It's a sorcery for 2. It says create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token and learn. I think we might have seen this. I'm not sure. Expanded Anatomy. Oh my gosh, I've got like 300 of these things, it seems like now. Don't fact check that. That was definitely an exaggeration. Alright, bottom 5 of this pack. The Lorehold Apprentice, which we just saw. Snow Day. I don't want another one of those this year. Draconic Intervention, we just saw. So I'm going to just... Karak Wrangler, we just saw. I'm just going to move these 3 out of the way. So we're just going to take a look at Snow Day and Negate, which I've shown Negate, just not today. And this art is super cool. I like this art. Negate is a cool uncommon. It's 1 and a blue instant, and it's counter target non-creature spell. So there are a number of counter target creature spells. This is non-creature removal, artifacts, enchantments, planeswalk. Be a planeswalk, counter planeswalker. 2 mana counter spells, always good value. And then we have Snow Day. This is an instant for 4 and 2 blue, and it says tap up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's next untap step. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. All good things. I like it. I like Snow Days. Well, I used to like Snow Days. Now, with everybody virtual learning and whatnot, Snow Days are just not nearly as fun. Okay, last 5 decks. Let's get this. We get a Pest. We like a Pest. Alright, Letter of Acceptance, which we have seen, but not tonight. Prismari Pledge Mage, we've seen tonight. Elemental Masterpiece, it's expensive, and it's a mediocre card at best. We've seen tonight as well. Blood Age General, we've seen... Nope. Nope, we've seen that one. Obviously, we've seen most of these cards by now. The Letter of Acceptance is a 3 colorless artifact. It says tap it, add 1 mana of any color, pay 2 and tap it, sacrifice Letter of Acceptance, and draw a card. It's a whatever mana dork, I guess. Seen it. Burying Books, 4 and a blue for an instant. It says this spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets an attacking creature. Which means it's not on your turn, which is the best time to play an instant. It says put target creature into its owner's library second from the top. Again, this is a delay, but you're delaying its attacking by like 3 turns, which can really just that can completely change your opponent's game plan. Blood Age General, we've just seen. Leyline Invocation. This is a sorcery card for 5 and a green. It says create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of lands you control. I think we have seen that tonight. Then Crushing Disappointment, which we've seen tonight. Beaming Defiance, we've seen tonight. Vortex Runner, we've seen tonight. And Spirit Summoning, we've seen tonight. All 10 of those are repeats. Bottom 5. Here's a new card to start off with. Flunk is something we've seen. Oh my gosh. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Abundant Harvest we just saw. Flunk we have seen. Humiliate. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. That's mean. I like it. It's cheap. It's only white and a black. It's just a nice meme, but it's a sorcery. Who cares though? I like it. Then 2 and a blue for a 2/2 beast, Kelpie Guide. It says tap it. Untap another target permanent you control. Or tap it. Tap target permanent. Activate only if you control 8 or more lands. So you can tap it to untap something else. Or you can tap it to tap someone else's things. But only if you've got 8 or more lands. Now there is a reason I did not show you the 5th and final card. I even turned it over, so I wasn't looking at it yet. Here we go. It is a mythic card. It costs 5, a red and a white, and it is a 5/5 creature. Specifically, it is an Elder Dragon. It is Velomachus Lorehold. Gosh, I wish they had some flavor text with this. He's an Elder Dragon that is the name of Lorehold College. Heck yeah. He has flying, vigilance, and haste. All 3 things I love to see. And it says, whenever Velomachus Lorehold attacks, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to Velomachus Lorehold's power from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I'm going to have to read this again and slower because I read it so fast I didn't pay attention to anything it said. I was just happy to read what my Elder Dragon's going to do. It says, whenever Velomachus Lorehold attacks, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to Velomachus Lorehold's power, which is a 5 to start, from among them without paying its mana cost. Free instant or sorcery spell, at least 5. Got another cat that's sleeping weird. So you're casting an instant or sorcery spell for free. That is at least going to be at least 5 mana. And then you put the other 6 cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. So they're not even going to the graveyard, not getting exiled. I like this card a lot. Because if I have a stupidly large instant or sorcery spell, all I've got to do is just pump him up a little bit before he attacks. And he's got flying, vigilance, haste. He's always gonna be attacking. Oh, Kiki Jiki, I think you're gone. I think the new commander for that red deck that I want, it's gonna be a red-white deck, and it's gonna be Velomachus Lorehold. And there's gonna be dragons, and there's going to be things that go boom, and I'm just so happy that I finally got an Elder Dragon. There's only 4 more decks left to go, and I finally got an Elder Dragon. Maybe I'll get another one. I doubt it. Maybe I'll just get a lot of repeated cards. I had no clue how long this last session was going to be. I knew this was going to be the last session of the unboxing because I'm going to go crazy if I have to do a 4th one. Now granted, it's almost 11 o'clock p.m. here, and I've already worked all day. Spirit, which is why I'm kind of all over the place. Owl and Shield Mage, seen it. Magyar Battleseer, seen it. Quandrix Campus, seen it. Move over. Mage Hunter's Onslaught, I've seen it, but not tonight and just once. Star Pupil, I don't know if I've seen this one. Serpentine Curve, I don't know if I've seen this one. Illustrious Historian, we did just see this one. Leyline Invocation, we did just see this one. Lash of Malice, I don't know that we've seen, or if we have, not tonight. Elemental Summoning, we did just see. So we are going to look at these 4 common cards before we get into the bottom 5, or the last 5. So Mage Hunter's Onslaught is a sorcery card for 2 and 2 black. And it says, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Cool. For 4. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, its controller loses 1 life. That's just kind of like, I slapped you really hard, and then I stomped on your toe just for kicks and giggles. Alright, then we have a Human Wizard. It is a 0/0 for 1 white mana. It is the Star Pupil. says Star People enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. So when Star People dies, put its counters on target creature you control. So we just saw a creature very similar to this, but better. It was a black creature. I think it's black or black-white. I can't remember. I think it was white-black. It was our... Spiteful Squad. Sure, I think it was 2 mana instead of 1. But, I mean, this gives you the option of pumping this thing up and then transferring all of its counters. But I feel like the Spiteful Squad gives you better value. Alright, next up, Sorcery Card for 3 and a blue. This is Serpentine Curve. It says create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is 1 plus the total number of instant and sorcery cards you own in exile and in your graveyard. Oh my. You play this later game, you can have a big fractal on your hand. You play it earlier, not so much. Lash of Malice. This is just a single black instant card. It says target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So a little bump. Not a big bump, but a little bump. It's not bad. It's cheap. It's 1 mana. All right, let's get into these uncommons, rares, what have you. No such luck this time. All right, start from scratch. We've seen. I like it though. 2 and a red for a sorcery lesson. Start from scratch. You can choose one. Start from scratch deals 1 damage to any target. That's a terrible option. Or, because the other option is destroy target artifact. Buy Soul Ring. Buy Arcane Signet. I've got some nasty artifacts to work with just from the Witherbloom Precon. I would cry. It's just like, kill it dead. All right, next up is the Shadewing Laureate. Man, Silverquill has got some annoying names that are real hard to pronounce, especially after 2 hours of naming cards. This is a 2/2 human warlock for a black-white and a black-white hybrid. It's got flying. It says whenever another creature you control with flying dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you do control. Symmetry Sage, we've just seen. Snakeskin Veil. I love this card. This is actually the art on this. You can get as a free wallpaper from the Magic the Gathering Wizards of the Coast official website. This is an instant for a single green, and it says put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains hexproof until end of turn. I like it. It's simple. It's to the point. It gives you some extra fun stuff for a while. It gives you, your +1/+1 counter. Then the rare card for this pack is 1 and a red, Human Shaman. It's a 2/2, Conspiracy Theorist. I was going to make a joke there, and then my brain blanked on a name. That doesn't make for a funny joke. It says, whenever Conspiracy Theorist attacks, you may pay 1 and discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Whenever you discard 1 or more non-land cards, you may exile 1 of them from your graveyard. If you do, you may cast it this turn. Ooh. The second part makes the first part pretty nice. Like, the first part, I was like, okay, when he attacks, I can choose to pay an extra mana and discard a card. Why would I do that? Oh, if I do, I draw a card. Okay, that's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. But now, if the card that I discard is a non-land card, I can exile it and play it instead. Yeah. I mean, I gotta cast it. I gotta be able to afford the mana cost for it. But I can see that going a whole lot worse. Final 3. Of course, we just get an advertisement. That is way off camera. It's really bright there for some reason. I'm going to do some things. Excavated Wall we've seen before, but it does say it is Defender. It's a 0/4 for 1 colorless mana, and it says pay 1, tap it. It says mill card. So you're putting things into your grave card. Okay. Right. Rise of Exodus we've recently seen. Exhilarating Elocution we've just seen. Spiteful Squad, not only have we just seen it, I just talked about it. And I was wrong. It is a 4 mana card. So actually, I do think that one the 0/0 with +1/+1/+1 counter on it for 1 is a far better value card than Spiteful Squad. Star Pupil we've just seen. Serpentine Curb we've just seen. Get these out of the way. Alright, I don't know if we've seen this at all. We definitely haven't seen it tonight. First day of class. Professor of Zoomancy. We've seen a lot. Unwilling Ingredient. We've seen a lot. Inkling Summoning. It's a good card, but we have just seen it. I'll just go straight into the uncommons and rares as well. We have got Grinning Igneous. There we go. Maybe. Access Tunnel. Silverquill Apprentice, which we have seen. So I'm not even going to show her right now. Defiant Strike, which we've seen but not tonight. And Sparring Regimen. So first day of class is a 1 and a red instant. It says, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gains haste until end of turn. And learn. Grinning Igneous is a 2/2 elemental creature for 2 and a red, and it says, pay a red. Return Grinning Igneous to its owner's hand. Add 2 colorless mana and a red. Activate only as a sorcery. So it can give you a major little bit of ramp. I mean, it's basically a net gain of 2 colorless mana. It's kind of a whatever card. Alright. Next up, we have Access Tunnel. This is a land. Tap it. Gain a colorless mana. Pay 3 and tap it. Target creature with power 3 or less cannot be blocked this turn. I actually like that part better than just it being a land. Then we have Defiant Strike. This is 1 white. And it is an instant. And it says target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And draw a card. Maybe we did just see this card. I'm not sure. But that's, I mean, for one white mana, that's a good card. Then we have Sparring Regimen. 2 and a white. This is an enchantment. This says, when Sparring Regimen enters the battlefield, learn. So that's not helpful for Commander, but helpful for other things. It also says, whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature and untap it. The nice thing about this is an enchantment, but it does not say enchant creature. So you're just you're playing this enchantment, and whenever you attack with any creature, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature and untap it. So this and... Wow. This card is giving +1/+1 and Vigilance to all of your creatures. That can't be right. I'll have to look up the rules on that. Can you actually... If it doesn't say enchant creature, does it work for everyone? Because holy smokes, this becomes a super OP card if so. For 3 mana. Alright. Last 2 packs of Strixhaven Draft Booster Box. It's been hours of looking at cards now through 3 different parts of this unboxing. Honestly, if I were to do this for like the full 7 or 8 hours it's taking me to unbox all of these, if I try doing that in a row, I might just go crazier than I normally am. I work too much. Inkling! Hey, we got more Inklings tonight than we've gotten all of these things. Teach by example, we have just recently seen, so I'm not going to go over this. If you're just joining us and you would like to see what Teach by Example does, check all of the last 3 parts because I've talked about it like 3 times. Same with Silvercool Pledge Mage, Spectacle Mage, Heated Debate, which is still such a good card. Especially with things that I've now gotten planned. I'm going to be a mean, mean boy. Springmane Servant. We have seen this before, but not recently, so I'm going to show that again. Spectre of the Fens. I'll read this. I kind of skipped over it last time, though I shouldn't have. Ageless Guardian. It's a poop card. We've seen it multiple times. Resculpt, we've seen like 4 times tonight. Pigment Storm, we've seen a few times tonight. It's not that big of a deal. Introduction to Prophecy is our last common card. So let's look at these 3 commons here. Springmane Servant is a 3/2 elk. It's 2 and a green. And it says when Springmane Servant enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Life gain. Hi, Witherbloom. Let's be friends. Then there's Spectre of the Fens. This is 3 and a black for a Spectre creature. It's a 2/3 with flying. It also has pay 5 and a black, and target opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. It's kind of like, hey, let's gain life together, but I'm going to cost a whole lot more. That is kind of a silly amount to pay for them to lose 2 life and you to gain 2 life. Sure, it works really well with Witherbloom, but it's still a lot of mana to pay. I'm real stingy with mana. Right, Introduction to Prophecy, which we have seen, but I'll go over it again. 3 colorless mana, Sorcery Lesson, scry 2, then draw a card. 3 mana, you're scrying 2, drawing a card, basically from one of those. Technically, you can scry 2, put them both on the bottom of your library, and then draw the 3rd card. Take your chances. Alright, uncommons and rares. We've got Spell Satchel, which we've seen. It's a no for me. Golden Ratio, we've seen a few times, and we have a nice little brain fart. A nice foil version. Professor of Symbology, we have seen as well. There is the best named card in the deck now, which we've not seen. I literally just heard about this one. Magma Opus. We also have Claim the Firstborn. Claim the Firstborn is a sorcery for 1 red. We've seen it. It says gain control of target creature with mana value 3 or less until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. So steal your creature and use it against you. That's what that card does. But Magma Opus. Let's go larger on this because it's a mythic. It's got some really cool art. There we go. But it is an 8 mana card. I just dropped something. I think it was an Inkling. It's an instant for 6, a blue, and a red. But it says Magma Opus deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. Tap 2 target permanents. Create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Draw 2 cards. This is not a choose one, a choose two. You do all of these things. You may also pay 2 hybrid red-blue and discard Magma Opus. Then create a treasure token. I have to look that up because it's an instant card. Can you play it, then pay the 2 to discard it? So can you deal 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets? Tap 2 target permanents. Create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Draw 2 cards and discard it to draw a treasure to create a treasure token. Because if so, well, one, you need 10 mana to do this. So, Rot's a rock to you. Let me pick up this Inkling. But Magma Opus is a great card. It's just an expensive card. Prismari should be real happy. Alright, peoples. It is our last pack of Strixhaven School of Mages, the 15-card draft booster box. I'm sitting here with just a pile of... I just dropped something else. I don't know what that was. A pile of just trash, really. If you guys save your your little foil packy things after you've opened your magic cards, I don't know why. So let's see what we get in this final pack. We've gotten 1 Elder Dragon from all of these hundreds of cards. Can I get another? Can I get something equally as cool? We're going to start off with our token. It's a fractal. It's a blue-green 0/0. Put X +1/+1 counters 100 because that's what they always say. I'm not going to go, oh, I've seen it. I'm going to read every single one of these cards in this last deck because it's the last one. Even if we're starting off with just pure bile in my throat. Actually, we're going to do this a different way. We're going big. We're going to go individual with each of these cards. It's kind of annoying, I know, but it's the last pack. I've been at this for a while. Alright. Silver Quill Campus. This is a black-white land. It says Silver Quill Campus enters the battlefield tap. You may tap this card and add either white or black mana. Or you can pay 4 and tap this to scry 1. I will say, so many campuses. I'm not lacking campuses for dual land mana. Then we have the Owlin Shield Mage. This is a bird warlock that is a 3/3 for 3, a black, and a white. Owlin Shield Mage has flying and it has ward, pay 3 life. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player pays 3 life. I feel like I've had this exact deck already. Or pack. Ogyar Battleseer. 3, a blue and a red, for a 3/4 Ogre Shaman that has haste. Or you may tap it and scry 1. What many students need right about now is a study break. Come on. Focus. Please focus. Sorry guys, but I'm trying to get it to refocus. There we go. Alright, study break is an instant for 1 and a white. Tap up to 2 target creatures and learn. And Learn says, you may reveal a lesson card you own from outside the game and put it into your hand, or discard a card to draw a card. As I've said multiple times, if you are playing Commander, Learn is useless. It's such a cool concept, but it does not work in Commander. Next up, and actually I believe first time I've seen this card, even though it's a common, it's Reject. Or Reject. Probably Reject, not Reject. This is an instant 1 and a blue, and it says, counter target creature or planeswalker spell unless its controller pays 3. If that spell is countered this way, exile instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. This is a pretty good counter spell. 2 mana. They have to pay 3 if they want to counter it, which you're probably countering this on their... I mean, you better be countering this on their turn. You'd almost have... I think you'd have to. So they've already spent mana. Hopefully they don't have the mana to pay to actually cast that spell that they want. Next up is Enthusiastic Study. 2 and a red instant. It says target creature gets +3/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. And then you may learn. It's a nice instant card. 3 mana and it gives you a lot. Field Trip. Yay, field trips. 2 and a green sorcery card. This says search your library for a basic forest card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Also, learn. And I've said what I feel about this. I feel like it's not quite giving you the value you think it might be. I love this card. It's so much fun. It is the Unwilling Ingredient. It is a 1 black creature frog. It's a 1/1. It has Menace. It also has pay 2 and a black and exile Unwilling Ingredient from your graveyard. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. It's pretty darn good value. 1/1 with Menace just makes me laugh. Fractal Summoning. X and then 2 hybrid green-blue. It's a sorcery lesson. It says create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it. However many X you are paying in mana, you put that many counters on it. Dueling Coach. 3 and a white human monk. That is a 2/2. And it says when Dueling Coach enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. You may pay 4 and a white and tap Dueling Coach to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. So this can be a pumping engine. It's a good name for a card. The Storm Kiln Artist. 3 and a red. Dwarf Shaman. 2/2. And it says, Storm Kiln Artist gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. If you're playing Commander, you're probably going to own a number of artifacts. It also has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a treasure token. Give me that mana money. Uncommon. Closing Statement. An instant for 3, a white, and a black. It says this spell costs 2 less to cast during your end step. Destroy target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature you do control. Yeah. 5 mana. Destroy your target creature or planeswalker, which is not the best value. It could cost you 3 mana instead of 5 mana if you do it during your end step. But you also get to put that +1/+1 counter, which helps. Alright, foil card. Hey, guess what? I kind of wanted another Dragon's Approach. I got one, and it's shiny. So Dragon's Approach is a 2 and a red sorcery card. Dragon's Approach deals 3 damage to each opponent. Alright, 3 damage to each opponent for 3 mana. Okay, down with that. But there's more. You may exile Dragon's Approach and 4 cards named Dragon's Approach from your graveyard. So you've already played this 4 times before. So you've already dealt 12 damage to each of your opponents. And that goes in your graveyard. Now you're dealing 3 more damage. You've done 15 damage to each opponent. And now you're going to exile 4 cards named Dragon's Approach from your graveyard. If you do, search your library for a dragon creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Not put it onto the battlefield, tap. Put it onto the battlefield, ready to go. Now, a few minutes ago, I just showed an Elder Dragon that has Vigilance, Flying, and Haste. If that creature happened to be in your graveyard, and oh no, it's your it's even better. It's your library. So let's say it's not my commander, it's in my library. I put it on the battlefield, and then I attack with it because it's got haste. Because I'm going to guess it's a sorcerer speed. I'm doing it before my attack phase. It's mean. And it says a deck can have any number of cards named Dragon's Approach. I think I've got like the sweet spot number to use this in an Elder Dragon deck. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Alright, Double Major. This is a rare card. It is a green and a blue instant that says copy target creature spell you control, except it isn't legendary if the spell is legendary. A copy of a creature spell becomes a token. So this gets around the legendary rule. So you could copy your commander. This is kind of like... what's it called? Gosh darn it. There's a creature that does this, that copies another creature, which can include a legendary creature. It just, the legendary rule doesn't apply to it. Right. The last card from the Strixhaven School of Mages Draft Booster Box. It's a pretty art card, and it's a really good card that costs 1 white mana and is an instant, which is my favorite kind of card. It's Swords to Plowshares. This is honestly the first Swords to Plowshares I think I've ever gotten in any Magic deck or pack. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. So you're giving your opponent life, fine. You're exiling a target creature for 1. For 1. Single target removal for a single mana. That's going to tick somebody off. Cool. My favorite part of Magic is ticking people off. Actually, no, it's not. It's just playing and seeing really cool stuff happen. I just have a play style where I guess it's the troll in me. Anyways, guys, that has been the Strixhaven School of Mages Draft Booster Box unboxing or opening. All 36 packs, 15 cards each. Let's see, I've got my phone right here. Let's open up the calculator app because my brain's not going to let me do this math on its own. 540 cards. That's a lot of cards. That's a lot of cards I've got to go through. I'm kind of OCD when it comes to organizing all of my cards. But it's worth it, especially because I got commander decks to make. So that's going to be it for what we're going to do with this stream. I will say this. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel in the upcoming days for an announcement about what's happening on this channel this summer. There's going to be a lot of videos going up this summer doing a lot of interesting stuff. Going to do some Magic-related stuff. We're going to do some Dungeons and Dragons-related stuff. We're going to do some art-related stuff. Kind of related to both of those, both Magic and Dungeons and Dragons. We'll see what else we do, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being able to have some time to actually devote to the YouTube channel to help it grow a little bit. I hope you guys come and join us. If you are watching this as a VOD, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're watching this live, I hope you're still enjoying it. But we will see you again next time. The announcement video for what will be up and coming will probably be... I don't know when. It could be later this weekend, like Sunday, or most likely it'll be middle to later next week. I have the college class that I teach will be ending on Tuesday night, but I still got like 3 weeks, two full weeks, 2.5 weeks or so. I think 3 weeks as a teacher for my high school classes before they're out. So finals week, everything getting cleaned up, everything's a mess in my classrooms. If you don't know, I am an art teacher at a junior high and high school, so lots of energy has to go into finishing up the school year. So I'm not going to stress myself on starting these cool projects for the summer until afterwards, except maybe some of the Magic stuff that I'm going to do, which I'll just tell you right now includes some deck building stuff that we're going to do, because that will be in two weeks maybe, that I'm going to be teaching kids how to play some Magic. I'm not going to be filming teaching them to play Magic, but I'll give you guys kind of a report on what goes on. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. It is 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I live. I am exhausted. I'm ready to be done streaming. And I'm ready to either go to bed or just get a glass of water. So until next time, guys, have a good time. Enjoy Magic. Enjoy Strixhaven. And to quote Day 9, play more games. Or is it Will Wheaton? It could be Will Wheaton. I could be lying. I feel like a bad nerd now.